are the faces of God, faces of God. We are the faces of God.
Shabbat Shalom, everyone. It's still Shabbat, but soon it will be the rest of the week, and we'll make Havdala and end Shabbat. It is so wonderful to see you all and to welcome you all. I'm Rabbi Paul Kipnis of Congregational Rami. With Cantor Doug Kotler, we welcome you here to Havdala in celebration of Pride. We welcome, we accept, we invite, we embrace the members of our community who are also LGBTQ plus. We are a community that's inclusive, congregational Rami. Our values are in the right place, though we're always learning. And this is a Shehechianu moment for us. This is actually our first Pride Shabbat celebration, hopefully the first of many. And we're thrilled for everyone who's joining us. Now, if you have the ability to do so, we invite you to add into your name the personal pronouns you use. You'll notice that I have he and him. Those are my pronouns. Some have she, her. Some do they, them. Whatever's comfortable. And again, if it's not comfortable for you to do so, you need not. But it's a way that people can be able to interact with each other when we're not quite sure how someone self-identifies. We will be here together to celebrate, to learn. We'll hear from some of our congregants, our interns, our cantor and rabbi. We will celebrate the joy of being an inclusive community. If Orami is anything, it recognizes that we are all created B'Tselem Elohim in God's image. And that means that each of us is of unlimited worth, of undeniable equality, and totally and completely blessed. And so we welcome everyone to this service, but we also recognize that sometimes by just saying we accept everybody, we sometimes don't open our arms and communicate that we're embracing. So let it be said that we invite, we welcome, we embrace members of our LGBTQ plus community. And if we haven't said it enough or haven't trumpeted that truth, know it is our reality. And speaking for Cantor Doug, Rabbi Julie, and myself, and our board, that's who we are from the earliest days. And so I'd like to begin with a blessing and invite our interns to share in with it. I'll begin. Makor HaChayim, source of life, you have blessed each of us with your spirit. In your wisdom, you have made each of us a unique treasure. Mayan HaChayenu, wellspring of our lives, cause us to flow with courage, strength, and compassion, to live our stories openly, proudly, joyfully. Anna?
Shechina shel ahava, presence of love. You embrace us with love. May we embrace ourselves, our partners, our lovers, our friends, our children, our dear ones with the power of your ahava rabbah, your unending, boundless love.
Ruah HaShalom, spirit of peace and wholeness, open our eyes to the gifts and blessings we offer and receive from each other. Open our hearts to welcome each other fully and truly. Open our hands to embrace, to support, to lift each other. Begilah birna, uv re'ut, with joy and with song and with deep friendship.
Today, as we celebrate renewal, pride, and Jewish community, let us celebrate together with strength, compassion, and love. Nivarech et Mayan Chayenu, asher techadesh v'tesameach otanu. We bless you, wellspring of our lives. May you fill us with joy and sanctity. And this prayer is by Rabbi Joshua Zlotschauer, Rabbi Erica Steelman, and Dr. Gloria Becker. I'd like to introduce the first of a number of our congregants who will teach us, enlighten us, help us understand and open our hearts. Joe DeCastro grew up at Congregational RME, became a bat mitzvah here, and we celebrate her as she shares and becomes our teacher. And I'll put up her slides. Joe.
Hi. I don't have a lot of time to talk. About 4-ish years ago, Rabbi Paul came up to me. Well, he didn't come up to me, actually. He actually texted me. I came out, spoke my truth, whatever people want to call it right now. And he asked to get a cup of coffee and talk about everything. And I said no. And because I just wasn't ready. And now I'm ready, and I'm really excited to educate everybody. I want to let everybody know that my pronouns are they, them. And it's really actually easy to use them. You use they, them in everyday life. You say they went to the market, or someone left their phone on the counter, or someone lost their wallet. So if you want to ask me, come to me. If you don't understand, that's okay. So yeah, you can pull up the slides. Happy Pride, yay. A lot of people don't know that the first Pride was a riot. It's not all happy rainbows every single year. It started 51 years ago, which is crazy. And we are hearing 3 words over and over and over again these days. Black Lives Matter. But I want to include one more word. Black trans lives matter. It's so important, especially here, because these riots were mostly led by Black trans people and Black trans women. And they really fought for our community. And I am just so grateful for them. One woman here, she's the one in with the flowers in her hair, and she was just one of the biggest advocates. A lot of people said that she threw the first brick. This was debunked in an article. Sylvia Rivera is in the yellow dress. A lot of people said that Marsha and Sylvia actually started the riot. They debunked this as well. They said that the riots were already happening and they just joined in. Stormy Delivery, it is claimed that she threw the first punch at Stonewall Inn. A police raid occurred at Stonewall Inn. Stonewall Inn is a bar, and it actually might be shut down pretty soon, which is really sad. She just really was herself and was a drag king and was just so authentic. And when she was called a homophobic slur, she just went at it. But honestly, don't quote me on a lot of these things. There are many more sources you can look up. I'm telling you, the internet is going to be your best pal with all of this information. You can go on to the next slide. We've made a lot of progress so far. I just want to put, just a few points, just yesterday, June 26th, It's a great day. All 50 states gained the rights of gay marriage 5 years ago. So 5 years ago, yesterday. That's amazing. So thank you, Obama. Thank you for all the people who voted. It's great. And just this month, the LGBTQ community, they finally have civil rights in the workplace. But personally, I think this is crazy because I don't know, I just think that it just happened this month, and it's 2020, and gosh, we've just been fighting since 1969. Whoa. The first place that it has been available to choose a gender neutral choice on your ID was District of Columbia in 2017. And that is great. There are so many more states and countries where this is available. Again, I can't go through everything. There's only so much time, but yeah, you can go on. There's a lot of progress that needs to be made. I never, ever want to make anything political, but the Trump administration is affecting us. It really is. It's affecting the LGBTQ community. It's affecting the trans community, especially with the healthcare, and it's actually just taking away their healthcare and denying a lot of people to be tested for COVID, which is crazy. So if you want to look into this and just stay educated and figure out what the right thing to do, or vote. And just, I am not going to push anything onto you. I'm not going to say who is right and whatever, but love is love. I love Oremy. As just growing up, I've just felt so welcomed, even though I have just, it's been a really long time for me to just be able to speak out about everything and just feel comfortable to talk about myself and other things. I've always felt so welcome here. So thank you so much for listening. Yet we need to realize that not every congregation is like this. I don't live in California anymore. I live in Oregon, and it's so weird. There's a Chabad right across the street, and I had a very strange experience with it. I had a lot of compulsive heterosexuality. I felt like I needed to be in a relationship with a man. I felt like because I was going to Chabad, like there was just like this binary, I felt so alone, and I was usually the only woman on that side of the wall. If you were familiar with Orthodox Judaism, it's different. And I have no hate at all in my heart for that community at all. It's just not for me. And I felt like they just didn't really see me for who I was, and I had to really change everything about me. It just really was hard for me. Go down. Yeah, this is a really great film, and it really resonated with me. Disobedience, it's about a romance, and both of them are Orthodox. It just, Chabad wasn't right for me, and I'm just so thankful that I have Oremy. I'm sorry. So some things that we can do here, because our congregation is so inclusive, and I just want to make it more inclusive. Don't be afraid to ask someone's pronouns. I know people can mess up with mine all the time. Just ask. Don't be afraid. Educate yourselves more and more every single day. If you don't understand, ask. If you don't want to understand, honestly, that's okay. Be aware that other congregations are unwelcoming and they aren't as great as this one. And honestly, I feel like we should have this at our congregation, just like at the door. We have these name tags, and just like the little extra things count. And yeah, that's all I have to say. Thank you so much for listening.
Thank you, Joe. Beautiful. This is how we clap during services, as comes from the non-hearing community. And we thank you, Joe, for sharing and teaching us. Cantor Doug, lift us up.
Someday I'll wish upon a star and wake up where the clouds are far behind me, where troubles melt like lemon drops way upon the chimney tops. That's where you'll find me, somewhere over the rainbow, way up high. There's a land that I heard of once in a lullaby, somewhere over the rainbow, skies are blue, and the dreams that you dare to dream really do come true. Someday I'll wish upon a star, wake up where the clouds are far behind me, where troubles melt like lemon drops way upon the chimney tops. That's where you'll find me, somewhere over the rainbow. Bluebirds fly, birds fly over the rainbow. Why then, oh why can't I? If happy little bluebirds fly beyond the rainbow, why, oh why can't
Beautiful. Beautiful. Annie Resnick, many of you will remember her when she was just this little thing of a kid. She was standing on a chair in the bima at our high holiday services, belting out a beautiful liturgical piece, and has been singing with us on the high holidays ever since. She is a beloved part of our community, and I invite you now to lead us, share a prayer. Thank you.
When I see a rainbow, the flag flying from the lamppost, fluttering in the Pacific breeze, I know that God made a covenant between us, If we lived our lives in black and white, we would never see that promise that God made. To see all those colors together, it reminds me that God is there for you and me.
Beautiful, thank you. Like the others, Sean Cooper grew up at the synagogue, was a little tyke running around, and then became an active member with his family. Sean has lifted us up with his heart and soul and wisdom and chesed, his kindness. And Sean, if you'll unmute and share with us tonight.
Absolutely. Can everyone hear me okay? Perfect. So I want to start with a little story. Only a few years ago, on the other side of the country, a young teenage girl who lived in a more traditional community was in a more conservative synagogue and went to a high school with little to no diversity, spent years wrapping her head around why she always felt so different. She soon came to understand that she was gay. She came out to her friends at school and they all turned on her. Tired of the bullying, she came home to tell her family what was happening, and her parents, who grew up in a time and place where they were taught that homosexuality was not only unnatural, but a mental sickness, and could not have been any less understanding or empathetic. In fact, they did what all LGBT kids fear at one point, and they kicked her out of the house. In this community, having a gay kid seemed to be worse than having one at all. And as a child or teenager still understanding their place in the world, nothing is worse. Her parents responded to her moment of bravery by telling her that she is disowned and no longer their child. She ran upstairs, locked herself in the bathroom, and over social media sent out a cry for help. She had been so rejected by her community, her friends, and her own family that she sat in the bathroom, questioning where her place was in the world and whether she saw a future for herself in that world. Fortunately, as an LGBT high schooler across the country who barely knew her but knew her enough to be Facebook friends, I saw her post and cry for help, and I messaged her immediately. After we talked on the phone for hours, calming her down, I knew I had to reach out to both professional emergency services, of course, but also the Reformed Jewish leaders and clergy in her local community. Her rabbi reached out to her and her family and created the safe space and reassurance that she would be welcomed and accepted. Of course, it takes time for a family with beliefs like that to understand and come around to that place of acceptance, if they do at all. And luckily, she realized that there are places outside of her hometown, outside of her house, and outside of her conservative community that would accept her, love her, and allow her to be celebrated for the very thing she was so scared to express. But that day, she knew she also had the unconditional support and love of her rabbi, her Jewish community, and her God. But as the boy who saw that post, and from the other side of the phone call, I would come to learn a lesson more eye-opening than I could have ever imagined. The worst thing we could do is assume. My coming out experience was one of great privilege and relative ease. While I still faced many challenges in my coming to terms and coming out as gay, I was met with love, acceptance, and understanding from every powerful influence in my life. I knew back in the day, kids would be shunned in many communities. And I would be lying if I said I didn't have a fear in the back of my head that I would still face the hate that I was almost sure was something of the past. And I didn't. I remember the moment I told my rabbis in Cantor that I was gay. It was at Temple before a Lompty board meeting. And the unconditional warmth, the love, and support, it was more powerful than words could express at the time or even now. That support immediately became another fabric in the tapestry of my identity, of who I am at my core. In that moment and throughout the last 7 years, I learned that my Jewish identity would not be threatened by my gay identity, but rather woven together beautifully. That Orimi was and would continue to be a place of community, home, and acceptance. But that would become my ignorant assumption of how the rest of the country and the rest of the Jewish community would be. And assuming is the most dangerous thing we can do. To forget, similar to what Joe was saying, that Southern California, the Reformed Jewish community, or Orami home is representative of every LGBT experience in this country. And unfortunately, even today, that is far from the truth. And that's why we have a responsibility to spread education, love, resources, and become a model for what acceptance in the Jewish community and the Jewish world must look like. We have made such incredible strides in the LGBT community, as Joe showed earlier, with decades and generations of fighting and activism. We have secured the right to marriage, and now, as of very recently, the right to work without discrimination. But there is still misinformation, intolerance, and communities that turn away their LGBT members, and still too many lesbian, gay, bisexual, and especially transgender people that are brought to the belief that their lives are not valuable. That's why spaces like Congregation Orami, leaders like Rabbi Paul, Canner Doug, and Rabbi Julia, members like the ones that accepted me with open arms when I came out, and inclusive events just like this one are so important and crucial. We must continue being the model for accepting and integrating queer Jews into their communities and serving the true meaning of Tikkun Olam, repairing the world. Thank you.
Beautiful, Sean. Oh, thank you so much for sharing. I remember that moment when you came in. I could tell you were nervous, Cantor Doug and I, but the smile on your face and the pride you felt was all we needed to hear. And that you recognized who you are, as did Joe and others, is enough for us, and it warms our heart. So thank you for sharing that story and that teaching. I'd like to invite our intern, Melissa Karp, to our rabbinic intern, Melissa Karp, to share a reading.
Let us praise the ruler of the universe and adore the creator of the world, who did not make us like other nations, who created us different from other people and set us on separate path towards a special destiny. Sometimes we may feel excluded because we are gay, lesbian, bisexual, transgender, queer identified or straight, Jewish or non-Jewish, female or male, old or young, or disabled. We conceal the unique attributes with which we are created in God's image. May God strengthen our inner resolve to honor and fulfill our unique purpose, to live out God's wonderful and unknowable design in which each of us is a vital participant. Therefore, we bow in reverence before God, the Holy One, who is to be blessed.
Amen. Thank you. Congregation Orami is led by, inspired by, taught by incredible interns. Since the earliest days of the congregation, I think we had our first intern in his third year, they have helped uplift us, create and recreate programs, take a look at who we are and stretch us. Our current interns, Melissa Karp and Anna Calamaro, our summer interns, are helping us develop incredible programs, working in our camps, helping us with our services. It was there I questioned, are we going to do something to celebrate Shabbat, that pushed us in a direction that should have been natural, but we just had never done. And so for this Shehechianu moment, we thank you. It's my pleasure to introduce other students from Hebrew Union College, one of whom will become an intern for us in the fall. Ariel Zitney. Ariel, if you'll wave. Unmute for a second, Ariel. And say Shabbat Shalom.
Hi, Shabbat Shalom.
Okay, that's Ariel Zitney. Ariel is a rabbinic student, also an education student, and this fall will be our rabbinic education intern, working particularly with our Menschify program. His partner, Zevi Berman, is a cantorial student and also will be doing the education program. Currently, they have been working at University Synagogue or Temple Isaiah. I missed that one up, but this coming year will be an education intern at the Temple in Pasadena, a conservative shul there. And together, they agreed to share and enlighten us on this Pride Shabbat. So I turn it over to the two of you.
Thank you. As Rabbi Paul said, my name is Ariel Zitney. My pronouns are he, him, or they, them. And this is my partner, Zevi Berman, and their pronouns are they, them. As Rabbi Paul said, we are both students at Hebrew Union College, the Reformed Seminary, but we are also both transgender. Being Jewish leaders who are also part of a marginalized community gives us the unique opportunity to speak to the larger trans Jewish world. I wanted to share a blessing with you all that I wrote specifically for transgender Jews. It was written to mirror our morning blessings of gratitude, which include the option to thank God for making you either a man or for making you a woman. As trans people, and especially as non-binary people, we need more than just those two options. So I wrote a blessing specifically for trans people that we can say to give gratitude to God. This blessing can be found in a new publication out by the CCAR Press, the publishing press for the Reform movement, called Mishkan Ga'ava, which is a collection of pride pieces for the LGBTQ Jewish community. Blessed are you, Adonai, our God, who has molded my soul from contradictions. From apparent opposites, you have created me, and from within dichotomies, I can see the plurality of your creation. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu boret ha'olam, she'asani trans. Blessed are you, Adonai our God, creator of the world, who has made me trans.
So the priestly benediction is our oldest blessing in Judaism, and it's written in Torah, actually, in the book of Numbers, and it was originally said by the priests in the temple as they blessed the Jewish people, and it is still said today in synagogues around the world as cantors and rabbis bless congregants who have come to pray. But the words of this blessing are quite gendered. This blessing is written in the masculine form in Hebrew. Yivarechecha Adonai v'yishmerecha. May God bless you and keep you. So as you can see, we translate it in English in a more gender-neutral way, but the Hebrew continues to remain very masculine. In recent years, some synagogues have modified the grammar to create a feminine version of the blessing. But what about those people who aren't men or women? What about those people who aren't validated by masculine or feminine language? For non-binary people, the priestly benediction is only one of the many places in Jewish liturgy where our gender is left out. Lior Gross created a non-binary Hebrew grammatical system to solve this problem. And with this system, we can bless those people who don't fit within the gender binary. Using this grammatical system, we can assert that non-binary people have a place in Jewish liturgy and deserve to be blessed as their full selves. But this grammatical system also has a second use. Because it is gender neutral, we can use it to bless a group of people of many genders. Just as we would choose gender neutral language in English to bless a diverse group of people, we now have that capacity in Hebrew as well. So using the words of the priestly benediction, adapted to be gender neutral in the Hebrew as well as in the English, I've written a melody, and with these words, we would like to bless you. This blessing is for everyone, But specifically, in this moment, it is for those people who have never been blessed as their full selves. This blessing is for you. Yivarecheche Adonai v'yishmerechem.
May Adonai bless you and keep you.
Ya'er Adonai panav elechem v'yichunekeh.
May Adonai shine light upon you and be gracious to you.
Yisa Adonai panav elechem ve'yasem lechem shalom.
May Adonai bestow favor upon you and grant you peace. And to any trans, non-binary, or gender diverse people who may be watching this, you are valid, you are important, and you also deserve to feel pride. Our blessing to you. May you always know that you are holy, you are blessed, and you are loved. Your existence speaks to the exclamation, Ma Rabu Ma'asecha Adonai, how great are your works, O God. Your unique spark adds to the beauty and to the greatness of creation. May you always know how much you add to the world.
Yivarecheche Adonai v'yishmerechem. Ya'er Adonai panav elechem v'yichunekeh. Yisa Adonai panav elechem ve'yasem lechem shalom.
And so as we move through these beautiful prayers, beautiful teachings, beautiful music, this beautiful sharing of each other's truths, we raise ourselves up and we raise our community up. For the wider we can open our arms to not just identify, but to welcome in and embrace all the beautifully diverse parts of our community. We lift ourselves up. The more diverse we are, the better we become. And so we make Havdala now, separating Shabbat as we move into the rest of the week, separating from the light of holiness of Shabbat and the potential of holiness during the rest of the week. Let us also use this as an opportunity to separate ourselves from those who would deny the kind of love and the kind of beauty and the kind of identity that individuals LGBTQ plus are, feel, live, experience. May we be advocates, may we be support, may we be friends, may we be one community. Our intern, Melissa Karp, I believe, has the symbols of Havdalah. I'm assuming that there are 3 stars out somewhere. It's not quite dark enough unless you're inside, but we will make Havdalah anyways. I guess Anna has a candle and Melissa has the Kiddush grape juice. And Cantor will lead us through the prayers.
La 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 everybody to sway just like the Coopers are. Just go with the Coopers. Here we go. La, 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 la. La, 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 la. La, 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 la. La, 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 la. La, 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 la. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam borei המבדיל בין קודש לחול. Anna was muted, so I will simulate the sound. המבדיל בין קודש לחול. אליהו הנביא, אליהו התשבי, אליהו, אליהו, אליהו הגלעדי, במהרה ויעננו, יבוא אלינו, עם משיח בן דוד, עם משיח בן דוד, אליהו הנביא, אליהו התשבי, אליהו, אליהו, אליהו הגלעדי. שבוע טוב, שבוע טוב, שבוע טוב, שבוע טוב. A good week, a week of peace. May gladness reign and joy increase. Ya-da-da-da, da-da.
Wow, it's a good week, a new week, an exciting week to come, especially with the joy of enlightening each other, hearing from each other, learning and listening to each other. I want to share with you just a few announcements of upcoming events or other things you might want to experience. The Reform Movement, the Union for Reform Judaism and reformjudaism.org just released its new season of Holy Jewish, holy as in WHOLLY, like holy. It is a fantastic podcast that speaks to Jews, part of their program, Juvenation. It's made up of Jews, LGBTQ plus Jews, who share their experiences, their realities, their learning, their messages. It's a powerful podcast, and I invite you to go listen to it. Go to reformjudaism.org and search podcasts. Camp KB, our Kayat Babayit, our summer camp, put together very quickly in less than a month for our youngest congregants from, I think, pre-K all the way up till 6th grade, with leadership programs for 7th and 8th grade and junior and senior counselors in high school and college and directors who are in the end of college or beyond. There you see a picture of Abby Gore, who's part of our team, and Andrew Fromer also. The camp's starting its second week. We provide all the materials with your registration so that your kids can have an active, not sitting around, not watching a screen, but moving around and doing things. Come and enjoy that camp. Congregation Or Ami is inclusive and proud of it. This is our previous logo that speaks the message. I know that we have a lot to do to let that word get out there. For our population of Jews who are LGBTQ is not what it could be, what it should be. Let's all work together to both spread the news and about our inclusiveness, and to work to figure out what we can do to increase the inclusivity of Or Ami. And Joe, I love those pins. Send me a link by email or text so I can figure out where they are, and we'll find a way to get them. And once we're back in the building, we'll share that. To transition just a little bit, on this coming Tuesday night at 7 p.m., we will be having a presentation about the SCS Noonan Scholars. Become a mentor for a high-achieving, low-income college student of color. Debbie Pattis, one of our congregants, has been mentoring with this program for years, she and her husband Davidson, and they are sponsoring this presentation. You can make a difference in the lives of lifting up others. Information is on our website, orami.org. Don't click because there's nothing to click, but go on to orami.org/RSVP and find out more. We are continuing to learn about the realities in Black lives, to understand the experiences Black and brown people have in this country. And we're partnering with Valley Outreach Synagogue and Congregation Or Ami for a two-part online event. We will discuss the award-winning documentary 13th with Joshua Holo, a PhD, the Dean and Associate Professor of Jewish History at Hebrew Union College. On July 2nd, we'll talk about part 1, July 9th, part 2. Go to orami.org/RSVP to register and to receive the information. Make sure you watch the video, the documentary. It's free on Netflix. It may stream other places. Before you go, we won't be watching it together, but we'll be talking about it together. And be part of our book read. Ibram X. Kendi wrote an incredible, powerful, stirring, uncomfortable, challenging, difficult book, How to Be an Anti-Racist. We are reading it, Rabbi Julie and I, and sometime in the mid to later part of July, we will be having a conversation and a discussion on it. So pick up the book, perhaps at a Black-owned bookstore. You can find out more at orami.org/anti-racism, or just Google how to be an anti-racist. You'll be amazed at what you can learn. And finally, this. Thank you to the ones who grew up in our congregation. Thank you to our interns who have been part of our congregation for just a few weeks, but are enlivening and inspiring us. Thank you to our future intern, and to all of you for being part of a community of caring, a community of chesed, for helping us grow and learn and open our arms wider. If you or anyone in your family or your pod need support of your rabbis, your cantor, our youth advisor, or others, whether you're part of our community or not, know that we are here. We are a text, a phone call, an email, a Facebook instant message, an Instagram chat, though I look at that a little less. You could Snapchat us, but we're not looking at that, so don't bother. But we are always here for you. So let's conclude tonight the way we conclude almost every event at Congregation Or Ami, with Hashkivenu, the nighttime prayer, the prayer asking God to watch over us. God watches over every one of us, but it's our responsibility to be the hands and the arms, the love, the support, the shelter of peace and security for each other. Cantor Doug, sing us through.
Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu Shalom, Shalom.
final prayer for our time together. The mystery of pink and blue. They said pink or blue, as if that were the end of mystery. I know now it was just the beginning. Blessed is God whose creativity pushes the limits of human understanding, and blessed are you who bravely shows the richness of that varied palette. May the Eternal watch over and protect us. May we all be blessed with the courage to confront our own fear and prejudice, and in doing so, truly witness creation.
Amen. Thank you all for coming, for celebrating Pride with us, for being a warm, welcoming, inclusive community. Cantor Doug, sing us out.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam שהחיינו וקיימנו והגיענו לזמן הזה. Shavua Tov.
Shavua Tov, y'all. Bye-bye.
See, everything has a place.
There you go. You did it. Hey, there's Sean. And hey, Ethan, good to see you. And Joe's there, Rabbi Wendy. Hey, Marlena. Oh, there's Michelle. They let you in. And Susie. Michelle and Susie didn't have their last names last time. Security wouldn't let them through. Turns out the a board member and the rabbi's wife, not a great way of doing it. Boom. I better stop taping this. Shabbat shalom, y'all. Shabbat shalom.